Hello from Vietnam, Hanoi, Vietnam. So welcome you to the APAC Academic Hub Research Panel with the topic on innovative pedagogy teaching social entrepreneurship in the Asia Pacific region. So so this is an event organized by APAC Academic Hub under Catalyst 2030. So welcome again, everyone, and the distinguished speakers. So I guess that Cindy, can you move to next slide so that we can have self-introduction to everyone? Thank you. So please introduce yourself in the chats, who you are, where you're looking from the world, and what are you looking forward in this session. Thank you. So I will start myself first. Okay. Yes, again, I'm Thang. I'm co-chair of the Catalyst 2030 Vietnam chapter and also the co-chair of the APAC Academic Hub. So today, with the topics about the teaching social entrepreneurship in the Asia Pacific region, we have two distinguished guests, which is Dr. Bhaskar Bhowmick from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. Dr. Bhaskar Bhowmick, he is presently working as assistant professor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, India. He completed his PhD from IIM, stand for Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, with specialization in business policy. He has 13 years of industry experience in sales and marketing, and his research interests include firm environment, leadership, technology for sustainable development. So welcome, Dr. Bhaskar Bhowmick. And we have also another distinguished speakers, Bermet Suiutbekova from the American University of Central Asia. She is the coordinator of the social entrepreneurship and design thinking concentration in the liberal arts and science department of the American University of Central Asia. And she earned her international MBA from Southern New Hampshire University in US in 2018. So again, welcome the two distinguished speakers. In terms of agenda, we are having two speakers. Each of them will present for 50 minutes, and then we have another 20 minutes for the discussion panel. So welcome everyone again, and the floor is yours, Dr. Bhaskar Bhowmick. Thank you.
Should we share my screen?
Yes, sure, you can share.
Yes. Is it visible?
Yes, we can see it here.
Okay. Let's start quickly. And I know there is a very good agenda to discuss with. But I would like to be very short, very specific. And when I was approached to talk about the teaching of social entrepreneurship, a couple of questions came to my mind that how do I really talk about this? The reason being that I'll go to my next slide, you can understand. question that really asks to myself is that why this discussion is really necessary. First of all, do we understand social entrepreneurship by itself? To me, at least, I would like to ask you as well, whoever is present in this panel and the audience, is that social entrepreneurship is like any other entrepreneurship in a social backdrop. Many a time we kind of define that if we just erase out the profitability, if we just erase out the demand-driven products and fast-moving consumer goods and all that, technological goods and all that, if we are looking into the entrepreneurship of developing some societal issues and all that, can we really understand social entrepreneurship or not? We have to really look into this more carefully. To me, social entrepreneurship is not a knowledge that you can really share. That means that kind of, if you tell me, do you know physics? I would say yes. Some of the knowledge I do have, I can teach you. But social entrepreneurship, can I really teach you like the subject as physics or a biology or so that I should say no. Why? Third is that social entrepreneurship cannot be taught. That's what I believe. The reason being, while going through the entire process of social entrepreneurship, I realized that it's a journey. We call it, in Indian language, we call it yatra, that enriches, right? Hence, the pedagogy of social entrepreneurship relates to that journey. What you carry, that means what is your baggage? How you are accommodating your baggage, your backgrounds, your language, your food, your shelter in the entire process of this. So that has to be very much, you should be very aware about the whole thing to understand what social entrepreneurship is and how to teach social entrepreneurship. It's not a kind of a very common way or conventional way of teaching. Not possible, definitely. Now, while I'm telling about this journey, I want to share that journey by itself. Where from we landed, recently we had one kind of workshop, week-long workshop called Transformative Education of Social and Sustainable Impacts. TESI that we had. On that basis, I was called for this. But how did we reach to that TESI? Is that something, one day we thought that we'll be doing something very innovative in terms of social entrepreneurship and we started? No. Let's get into that journey. We'll understand how it happened. The journey starts May 2019 in Sundarbans. People who do not know about this, these are the delta regions of many Indian and Bangladesh rivers which meets into the sea, right? Many times we have seen that, those huge rain or huge kind of social disruptions actually happens in this area. To give you just a perspective in this area is that the per capita income to you can understand that the $50 per day in that area, $50 per day per capita income. So you can understand which kind of scenario that we are talking to. And we are, as you have seen this photograph, we are a constellation of the scientists and the social entrepreneurs from IITs, NIT. These are all state-owned, eminent organizations which carry on teaching, research, and everything in our country. IITs, NITs, and CSIR labs. We had in our hand 52 different kinds of technologies which we thought that will be kind of be useful in this area. And following that, we can think of some kind of social entrepreneurship program on that. Just to give you, cutting that story short, we had 3 days interaction with the local people and all that. We talked about what are the possible, technologies that we have that they can use free, of course, the technology. And if you understand that the entire process of our workshop went to wane. It was a complete failure. Reason being why is that unless you develop the people to accept the technology, to appreciate the technology, you cannot do anything. So sometimes what happens is that the learning from this is that when you are going to the society with some kind of your knowledge, some technology, some devices, some solutions, it may or may not really act. What you need to do is that you have to gather insight by practicing empathy, observation, and interviewing the local people. That is the process that you should start with. What we did with this learning, we assembled the local NGOs, that means non-government organizations who actually perform as a social entrepreneurs in the different regions, not only into the Sundarbans, but the different areas of India. It was Rural Technology Action Group, RUTAC Center at IIT Delhi, which is also a very eminent academic center in our country. October 2019, that time, right? And we discussed what we can do. You can think of, you have seen that couple of products that we had developed through this workshop was those pumps, those sheep shearing machines, those Tulsi Mala beds making, manufacturings, many other different programs around that. What we came out from this particular workshop is that you have to, now people were asked what are the problems, what they feel that we should do for the society with this compendium of technology. But we realized that we need to learn how to frame a question, identifying a driving question that inspires others to search for creative solutions. So how do you frame your questions? That is the most important part and the starting point of when you start social entrepreneurship. Of course, because the background of us, we are thinking of social entrepreneurship with the help of the different affordable, accessible technologies. So you have to build scrappy prototypes from those questions and learn about the unmet needs of those areas, specific areas. So one solution may not be really fitting to the other areas. So every other area where you are doing your social entrepreneurship, it has its difference in terms of its demand. Next, it's a journey. So we have been talking to the different people, different areas, different institutions. It is IIT Guwahati, towards the northeast of our country, another beautiful placed. What we have learned, we have also talked about social entrepreneurship, local technologies, appropriate technologies, bottom of the pyramid solutions and all that. What we have learned that it is very, very important to know about the very local resources as well, not only the needs. What are the local people do around? What are they very familiar with? We got in the IIT Guwahati, that's a northeastern of our country, that they are more prone into the textile-driven technologies and all that. That's what we have started building over in the IIT Guwahati roots and all. It is going on, so we'll get back once again. Further northeast, this is called the NIT Silchar. We met a set of women entrepreneurs, very base level women entrepreneurs, who are making the bamboo sital parties. You can see down right side the different of their products, the bags, the jewelries, ornaments, different products out of the very local resources and their local knowledge. All these are women entrepreneurs at the local area. We learned a very good lesson out of them. We have learned from there, from NIT Silchar, is that you have to generate ideas, you have to push the past obvious solutions to get breakthrough ideas. So many a time some obvious solutions comes to us that this is the way that we should solve this problem. You have to make that cleanliness so that you can make some new breakthrough ideas. You have to make ideas tangible, not only ideas. You have to make immediate tangible prototypes and all that. and build rough prototypes to learn how to make the ideas better. Going ahead, we met with again 23 NGOs who are working starting from Sundarbans to the Northeast, the different parts of the countries at our institution, IIT Kharagpur. And we have shown them, this is what we have built, how you can help us to make a diffusion of these technologies and help at the society's level. Tell us what are the problems. Let us make the big, business solutions for that. Can we create some new incomes for the local people somehow? Some initiatives again have been taken. But what we learn is that it is always suggestible to refine your ideas by gathering feedback. We got different changes in our technologies, products, approaches. Having heard from these 23 non-government organizations and NGOs, and they gave a lot of good feedback for experimenting forward. Is that all? That you take the idea from the society, from the grassroots, and make your technologies? Not necessary. We had coupled together the different very important institutes in our country, like Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi, then IIT Roorkee and IIT Kharagpur. We put together our heads that how we can make research out of this. So what are the different research available at present, and for future, what we can do to use design and research to understand the past, present, and future of this entire journey. So you just inbuild the research into this, which will give you the future directions, and you will have a lot of solutions out of this research. So the research orientation is necessary. That's about. We are going to reunite in this particular in this institute in the next October this year. Finally, we landed up in TESI, where 15 to 19 January 2024, where the 67 different participants they are all faculties, teachers from across the country, from the Northeast, from the northern part, western part, entire country. We put together and we actually explain them what has happened, how to take this forward, and that is what how to take this, this energy, this idea to enter world in future. Of course, we have started. So it is important to share your story, craft a human story to inspire others towards the action. That is all about the test. So we have developed some classroom level, deliverables, pace setting activities, team tasks, business idea pitching, case study presentations. These are the different programs that year long that. And finally, around the team testing, what we did, and we did a teamwork for curriculum redesign. Quickly getting into things that what is our approach? Is it that design thinking is enough for this? No. We had to look into the co-creation. We had to look into the academic dynamic capability. We have got very extensive research on this. We are not sharing here, but we can do it. So finally, to my presentation, what is to take away from this? We call it the design action for the social entrepreneurship. So it is not design thinking, it is design action. What is a design action? Design action is a non-linear, iterative engagement process that co-creates, use, and undertake users, challenge assumptions, redefine problems, and create innovative solutions to the prototypes with the help of human engineering process. What are the different things that we did in TESI, the different sessions that we covered in a kind of an abstract level? We covered the question formulation technique. We covered the critical thinking technique. We covered effectual reasoning technique. We covered co-creation workshop, transformative leadership, and finally the action research. So these are the different thematic sessions that we covered in our TESI program in January this year. With that, I'll stop. We are always, we have got our websites ready for you. I think it can be shared with you. and we are always open for any kind of collaborations for you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Bhaskar Bhowmick, for your very engaging presentation. So now I would like to present Bermet Suiutbekova from American University of Central Asia for 15-minute presentation. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. What a fascinating presentation, Dr. Bhowmick. So at work here at American University of Central Asia, today I want to talk about the empowering education globally and teaching an open society university network, how we collaborate with open society and university network programs on specifically sustainability and social enterprise program. So here's a short introduction about me, and I also want to highlight that I teach at AUCA, social entrepreneurship, frugal innovation, social entrepreneurship, and design thinking. So I want to echo on what Dr. Bhowmick actually said, that social entrepreneurship is actually not a theory. It is actually practice. And you cannot just simply teach social entrepreneurship by saying +1 + 1 = 2. That is actually a lot more goes in. So this is where American University and other 6 institutions globally, we work together, collaborate together, and teach social entrepreneurship on the basis of the sustainability and social enterprise certificate. Over the course of 3 years, almost 4 years, we have actually taught, here, not 100, I think it's more than 500 students, but in each cohort, when we run in fall semester, we get about roughly actually more than 100 students. 6 institutions globally. So it starts all the way from Myanmar, and also we had institution from Thailand, and then Kyrgyz Republic. Then also we go to Bulgaria, South Africa, Colombia, also Lithuania, and then obviously American universities, Bard College, Bard MBA. And each institutions have their own local instructors where they also lead and work closely with their students. And we do actually run this course virtually once a week. And at the end of the course, we do have actually virtual pitching. So also what I wanted to say is, like, the course is actually practice-based. And in order to come to actually the final production, right, of social entrepreneurship, over the course we discussed and we collaborated with the other institution, and we thought that first students, we work mostly with students, higher education. And on the first year, students must learn actually about sustainable development goals. And that's when we created the course Sustainable Development and Social Enterprise course, where students go in depth, dive into actually SDGs, and they select. So in the course, we designed the way that students have a freedom of choosing a problem that they face, or they have actually a passion, an urge to work on that and provide a solution. And then students go through the course of design thinking, where we use all the design thinking approaches and phases by empathizing, and what also Professor Bhowmick also mentioned, observing, interviewing, empathizing with the problems what the societies face. Then after actually collecting all these problems, then we actually also work on the solution, right? But social entrepreneurship, it's also not only the problem or providing a solution to existing societal problem, but it's also providing, developing it, right? Reaching more people. So is that actually a social entrepreneur, the enterprise, what you have created, is it scalable or it is not scalable? And then we also understand that not all the people can lead an enterprise. So can they actually bring a change within the organization? So then we actually created a course leading change for sustainability, or in other words, is social entrepreneurship. So understanding the teaching methodologies, right? It is not like simply what we actually in Central Asia, we heavily inducted with the Soviet Union teaching system, where it's more of a theory, but less practice. In this course, what I actually use approach is 90% of practice and only 10% of theory. What it means is that we use interactive learning methodology, collaborative learning, where students actually group in the groups, and they actually work closer with together on the providing the solution, or actually identifying the ways on how they can actually provide the solution after design or during design thinking. Or we actually even start from at the very beginning that students must actually work together and identify the problems, identify the pains of the society. And then problem-based learning, this is where the design thinking comes in, where students actually do this ideation set parts, and then they also do the defining section. Then they do actually the prototyping and testing. Testing actually could be done also, or elaborated or scaled during the social entrepreneurship course. Also, we do have actually flipped classroom online resource, where we use a Rebel-based platform, which particularly was designed for social entrepreneurship course, or for social entrepreneurs, whoever wants to start their own startup, social enterprise. And it actually walks you through like from zero to until like pitching. And all the resources, materials are also available on that platform. In inquiry-based learning, the solution cannot be done by just sitting in the classroom. So we actually send students to the field research. If they have actually solution, or if they said, oh, there is a problem, but is it actually the real problem of the society, or there is actually a bigger picture, or there is actually another section that they could focus on? And that's why we send actually students into the field, work with actually people, interview them, observe them, or even actually run the survey. That actually makes more clear, and students understand or can see a bigger picture, or can really actually shape the map where how they want to actually move forward. And interactive technology, again, is actually Rebel-based. On Rebel-based, we actually use it also when they can actually publish their works. It is not, we don't use actually other platforms other than the Rebel-based, where students can actually use the platform, publish their work. And since I mentioned in each cohort we receive more than 100 students, students also can go over their projects, provide feedback, or if there is actually some questions, there is something that needs to be elaborated, students go there and then ask those questions. This is actually really helps and creates an environment where students are empowered to make decisions and really not look into what the instructor or professor will say, because that's their project and that's what they want to do and what they want to work on. And so innovative teaching methods, right? So online pitching fishbowl. Since this is actually a global certificate program, we run the course twice a week, each cohort individually, and then we meet once a week. So twice a week, one is actually for global class, and the second one is for the local session. And we meet all together one day, depending on the time zone. We select one suitable time for all of us. And then each week, students actually present their findings, their problems, definition, or anything what they were actually assigned to do over the course of 1 week. We call it also a fishbowl, where students actually get the opportunity to shape or to develop their skills of presenting, and engage with peers from other institutions live. Over the course of me also teaching, we had actually students globally working on the same problem in their own home institution, but as a one team. So I will speak about that in the later slides, where students actually were just working remotely and developing the social enterprise and developing the solution. And these were all actually apps that they were actually working on. Engage with peers from other team on the platform, also what I mentioned on a rebel base, when the students or teams post their assignments, right? Their findings, then other teams come in and they actually read their project, then they actually leave some comments if there are questions, either clarifying questions, or what actually happens more often is like ideas, right? Brainstorming, like, hey, maybe you could do this, maybe you couldn't look into this. Questions that really push students to think further. And presentation or pitching skills, this is actually one of the greatest testimonies from the students that they say, oh, before actually starting this course or before actually doing this fishbowl, I was not confident, but by the end of the semester, students like, now I have gained my full confidence. I feel I can actually pitch virtually without a fear, because I know this is actually a session, this is actually a class where I learn. It's not where I am presenting, but this is an opportunity for us to learn. So goals of the program is actually how can we solve global and local problems all together. Again, like students can from all over the world work on the one same problem. Maybe it's empowering women or teaching girls in developing countries. There is also one app that was developed on teaching girls in Afghanistan, and there were a lot of actually students from another countries were involved, and they actually created this app, and they also received a fund as an investment towards improving and developing further their app. And sustainable development goals, and how can we actually really incorporate the sustainable development goals into their projects, bottom-up approach and equipping those students who face the problem. Most of the time, enterprises or startups, we always think about the Silicon Valley. We think about the multi-million dollar or billion-dollar companies. But in the social enterprise should be actually about how we can serve the people who face the problem. So this is about thinking and really developing the solution around those people who face that are most of the time unseen or they're forgotten, right? And then empower young leaders. So we empower young leaders not to be just like A students. We empower them to be actually a community service server, right? Actually a detective, and a detective who actually goes out, who learns, who is very curious about what's happening and how can they make better lives for themselves and for their future. So it's sustainable development, right? So major projects and initiatives. So Yatem is Not Ashamed app for teenagers in Central Asia was developed throughout this course, where it was actually for teenagers on how to break the stereotype of the educating young people about sex. This is actually taboo in Central Asia, so they actually wanted to create this as a gamified version of explaining what is actually adulthood and what is actually sex life, right? And mushroom mycelium made sustainable eco-furniture, that was also developed in this course, where students actually throughout the semester, throughout the course, they developed their prototype and they tested, and we also tested next. So next after the semester ended. And Ecolog, so this is also a case when we said, no, briquette made out of fallen leaves is not sustainable, because students were assigned to further investigate whether fallen leaves are actually good or not good. So they did it then later after the course, in-depth research, and they understood the fallen leaves are actually more dangerous than regular leaves, especially if you were collecting the leaves from the cities, right? And fertilizer made out of also coffee leftovers that was developed in the within the ACA. Students were actually working directly with the stakeholders. So in future direction is like more institutional collaboration, empower developing countries, teach and impact 5,000 more students. So at the end, I want to actually say that us teachers or professors or like whatever title you have, we shouldn't be actually sitting there as a teacher, but we must pose ourselves as a trainer and a guide that's helping students to see and move around all the obstacles by asking the right questions. And this is it. If you have any questions, so I think we will have a chat later. Thank you.
Thank you, Bermet Suit. Yeah, would like to have comment and questions from the audience. While waiting for the questions to comment from the audience, I have some, like some questions for our two speakers here. The first, I would like to have questions for Bermet. Actually, myself, I'm also teaching social entrepreneurship in Vietnam, and the perception, the general perception of students is like, they feel more inspired by if the training is delivered by the social entrepreneurs themselves instead of educators, teachers, and professors. So yes, so how can us as a academic people, educators, can foster a mindset of social ownership among the students? Yes.
That's a great question that we have been also brainstorming around. How can we actually make the course more engaging, stepping aside from the academia, stepping a little bit aside from the also research, right? Because they're young. And what we actually then decided is, since the course I teach here is very global, and we do have actual professors with experience in the field of starting their own startup, and also we invite actual speakers who we do have also social entrepreneurs here. We invite them, or we do also field trips all together. And my approach itself is more of practice-based learning, not like sitting and reading like hours-long lectures. So inviting actually guest lecturers, even online, because I know Catalyst, you can also ask for the speakers to come and speak for your students. And I invited my Debbie Brooke for one of my sessions, and students were very inspired. You know what I want to tell you? That's actually great, like bright testimony. When students were sharing about the homeless problem in New York, and we had also students from Bangladesh. Sorry, I forgot to actually mention about this university in Bangladesh, and from Bulgaria. They said, wait, hold on, like, do you also have homeless people in New York? Because the perception of students is totally like, borders, right? Into the borders. It's like, then when you actually expose to globally learning environments, they were like, oh no, like we all have the same problem, that we all can come together and work together. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I have also another questions, for Dr. Bhaskar. I'm founding the Center for Social Innovation at my university, one of the biggest university in Vietnam. And I always have, I face with challenges from the senior management of the university to support and provide resources for promoting social entrepreneurship in the university. So most of the time, the resource come from outside of the university. So according to you, especially we are, developing economy, and the focus of university and the economy is to profit money, profit making and economic growth. So what is your advice? How can educational institution can advocate for more supportive resources for social worship programs?
Good,
Yes.
good. Very, very interesting and intelligent question indeed. In fact, the countries like us, whom you have really referred, they are more into to how to develop actually. So everything we are producing, we are excited enough to go to the development. So new kind of rails, new kind of infrastructures that we are, and that we see in our country as well. In the academic center like us, we are also having the same thing. The entire concentration goes into those developing the newer things, the newer technologies, newer sciences and all. But the question that we need to realize now as an academic institution, that where are you using these technologies? Who are the recipient of these technologies? How it is going to develop the ultimate, people that you want to target on. As I say, our initial, you remember that our initial workshop went completely in vain, in failure, because we had a lot of productive technologies in hand, but we do not have a space to put those technologies in. So it is the responsibility and awareness of the countries like us, and especially the universities and academic centers like us, to propagate this thing. This is an important area of research. This is an important area of development. This is an important area of innovation, new innovations to come, which you have to really propagate those ideas to, first of all. Second, as you rightly mentioned, that the high level leaders, the top level leaders, they must be first convinced about this. Otherwise, it is just, that some efforts are being done from some or the other, some fragmented, people who are really excited about it and ambitious about this, though they are actually practicing. But as a whole, as a society, as a community, we are not practicing this. So it is also our responsibility. It is also our role to really, make that thing, make the social entrepreneurship in the forefront of our education system, which is very difficult. As my co-panelist also said, very difficult. But, this is the time that we should build up, at least we should build up this community together, and we'll be more forceful enough to put this into our, into our academic scenarios and our, curriculums, how we can do this. That's what we are doing. Right?
Thank you. Bermet, you raise your hand.
Yes, I want to actually echo what Professor Bhowmick actually said, that for me, it was also a challenge, but I had my buy-in from my boss. So then we had to actually get the buy-in from the higher ups. So what we did was we actually organized a pitching event where we invited actually people, experts in the field, so not academics, but there's the pitching, the judges, and we also were able to also secure some funds from sponsors, and we actually talked about that on the news, and then that's how we actually attracted the attention. That was crucial for all of us. And also, whenever I actually do the projects within the class, what I do is I actually invite the stakeholders, and I invite also the VPAs and VPs. Also, this year, I invited the president of the course. So this is how you get actually this word spread about the courses, what you're doing, and what is actually, not what. You need to explain why institution higher-ups must actually pay close attention to the social entrepreneurship or the sustainable development courses, which is related. Then if you get the buy-in, then I think if you can also sell the why, then the why, what, how would be actually very easy. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your answers. So we have questions from Patricia Kaziro in the chat box. So to both speakers, can you answer the questions? Is there a trend in demographic or psychographic of social entrepreneurs in your countries who are studying social entrepreneurship, and what drives them? Thank you, Patricia, for the very interesting question.
Bernet, would you like to take this on?
I think my answer will be short because I teach on the university level. So it's like all university students, whereas I think Professor Bhowmick has actually huge impact. Like, you have a bigger audience. I saw that. That's fascinating.
Right. So yes, very good question. Again, it came up suddenly, and you try to give your answers, making some things up. But the question is that, yes, this is a good research question for it. So we should look into this as a research questions. Can we really identify people who are actually doing this? We have started this research. Basically, we did one research about the women entrepreneurs. We got some of the ideas about the social entrepreneurs within women entrepreneurs and all that. But I think a generic idea about is that one is the demand-driven social entrepreneurship. That is, and secondary is the push from your side, because the areas that I was talking to, that Sundarban and all that, their social entrepreneurship is required, which is very much needed for the people who wants to live in. They are not earning much, so can really social entrepreneurship give them a better earning and better life? So I think this is a good research question. We do not have any direct answer to this, but one can really think of what kind of, yes.
Yes, we have another questions from Rishita. Is the material course design necessary for socially impactful idea?
Rishita, would you want to really elaborate your questions, or so?
Yes, yes.
What do you mean by the material cause or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rishita. Yeah,
Am I
please.
audible? Sorry. Hi. Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I was thinking, I have done a couple of graduations in the computer science field, and as much as I'm interacting with social entrepreneurs and other people who have socially impactful ideas, everybody's focused on developing products and using their education to build technology-based products rather than going back in history to bring up ideas or taking up hierarchies that have caused these problems, like in the patriarchal society that have been building across histories of various Asian countries. So my question is really, is technological the material cause of it, is it really necessary if you want to cause a change in the social impactful region? I think that was my question.
So yes, Rishita, good that it has two-sided answer. One side is that, as I said, my first story, you must have followed that story. Unless you solve the basic problem of the society, no one is going to take up any kind of innovation or social innovation that you want to bring into the society, which you think that would be good for the society. So yes, the non-material things, the ideological things, philosophical things, historical things and all that, those are very much necessary to understand to make social entrepreneurship in effect. But the technology comes in when you want to scaling it up, you want to make a quick response to the problem. When you have technology is a resource available to us to make a solution to this social. So instead of starting from the technology, and that's what we mistakenly did the first time. We looked from the technological end, and then we wanted to look into the what are the problems that we can solve with this technology, which is a kind of a wrong direction. Rather, you look into the problems, what are needed to be solved right now, what are the 1, 2, 3 of your idea basis, and then you see what is the available technology that can really help you in two ways. Yes, Bonnet?
I want
Thank
to
you.
add
Thank you so much.
more that the most of the time the social enterprise ideas fail after like huge, very motivating discussion, because they don't do actually the in-depth research out of the market. They don't do actually in-depth research of like historical what Rishita you were actually mentioning. So they don't really bother themselves doing the research, and they say, oh, my idea is great. It's like, but I know this and that guy or this and that organization that they're doing the same. Like, what is actually the value proposition you're bringing into the table? Oh no, I'm doing that. But it's like, no, you need to actually do more in-depth research of the ideas that maybe is already existing. Maybe you want to create another idea, or you want to actually collaborate and boost or scale up that idea. That's actually one thing that I also want to mention here. And about the technological or creating any actually apps, let's say like information technology, right? What I want to say, Not everybody has full access to downloading the apps, but I support the apps in the terms of raising awareness. Raising awareness, particularly right now, the climate action, right? So what's happening? So what are the actual impacts? What are the actually bad influence, negative effects can have harmed the nature if you do X, Y, Z? So this kind of apps actually could help the little kids because they are very tech savvy. And for adults that they have actually fully invested into social media and other stuff, we are not really invested into this kind of products. It's downloading, right? And also, what I want to say, most of the organizations, I know also one organization that they had actually the whole like $500,000 of investments, and they spent actually almost 70% of developing the app, the great app, but they actually left maybe what small portion for marketing, where it was supposed to be like otherwise, right? Because other way, where you need to actually spend a lot more time, more money and time, invest a lot of money into marketing the project. So at the end, the project actually failed, although the product was great. So I think we answered, I think you were able to get some clear answers to the question, Rishita, right, Dr. Bhowmick?
Yeah, the next question is actually intertwined with we have been discussing, that how to ensure the social entrepreneurship education remains accessible and inclusive, particularly for the students from underprivileged backgrounds and marginalized communities. That's what I also discussed in my talk as well. That first of all, two things again. One is that it is not that after coming to know about the sustainable development goals and then we started social entrepreneurship. We started social entrepreneurship. There is an historical, evidences that social entrepreneurship for say gender equity have been very long way of discussion. It is not today that we have been discussing, right? So we need to understand that is ingrained in our community, in our systems as well. But some of us are posing that it is today that we are starting discussion of social entrepreneurship. Not so. Basically, is the other side of it is that, as I said, now it is important to communicate, to convince, to control our entire education system, and has to be. It is not a social entrepreneurship as a different course or different program. Who are doing the engineering in electrical sciences, engineering computer sciences, they must think, or they must be taught about the social entrepreneurship so that they can also use their knowledge, who are interested to, into the social entrepreneurship field altogether. So it is more a generic things like a language, like a philosophy course. It must be available to in our curriculum. So it's not separately that people who wants to do social entrepreneurship typically will take that course and make it forward. So it has to be more generalistic view. It will take some time, but I think that is the way that we are actually going through.
Yeah, that's a great question, because that's what we've been actually discussing with the team at Open Society University Network. How can we make the education accessible? How can we ensure that students are receiving that quality education, what we so-called Ivy universities are receiving? Because education must be actually accessible. Education should be actually, technically speaking, free, right? And we actually working on developing actually a program right now where we are right now looking into not only higher education, not only actually institutions, right? But we are looking into organizations that the work that they have, social enterprises, where they prioritize teaching and educating underprivileged kids, or actually women or marginalized group in their own community. So we want to work with them and then deliver the education. Then the next question comes into it's always about the costs. It's like that's a pain in all actually teaching, that's a pain when delivering the training, so etc. And then the costs, the price, or whatever it is, the fund that needs to be actually fully got, or the institution must have. And the last thing is about how the knowledge and resources are available in that language. Because in Kyrgyzstan, Kyrgyz Republic, we speak in two languages. We speak in Kyrgyz language and we speak in Russian language, where majority of the resources are actually in Russian. But if I want to actually serve underprivileged or those people who do not speak in Russian, then I need to translate it. That's actually another time consuming. And do I have actually then speakers who speak in Kyrgyz? That's a question too. So I don't know the situation in Vietnam, but I know in India there are also different dialects, different languages. And I think maybe you can also speak to that on how you actually make the education accessible, deliverable in their own local language.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, we are close to the closing of the event. So actually, it's very true. Like we are in developing economies, and what would qualify as the one who really a big promoter of social entrepreneurship here in Vietnam? We just see like in developing economies, there's so many reasons for us to develop social entrepreneurship, especially among youth and students, because we have so many wicked problems that needs to be solved in our economy. So thank you very much for the presenters and also the very fruitful discussion and also questions from the audience. So before closing the event, I would like to hear from you about the events. Okay, thank you everyone for completing the survey. Okay, yes, we have just one respondents. Yeah, we would like to introduce to you the social change innovators.com website. It's a part of our, the efforts on Catalyst 2030 and Academic Hub. So social innovators, change innovators provide where you do not only explore or get information or resources on social innovation, but also you can contribute to the platform. So it's really two ways of contributions, and you can explore different resources on social innovation. Another news from Catalyst 2030 that we have Catalyst 20 on the Medium, so please explore our works on Medium. Thank you. And yes, you can contact us on different social media on Facebook, X, and LinkedIn and YouTube. Okay. Again, thank you very much, the distinguished speakers and the organizer team, and also the participation from the colleagues from Asia Pacific. So thank you and have a good evening.